from yourself and the team at Study New South Wales and all the great work you do. So thanks so much for today's session. So hello to everyone. My name's Nicholas Toscan from the Australian International Sports Organisation, or AUSISO, as you'll hear it referred to by Lorraine and others. And also we've got Herman Loti here as well. I'd like to introduce our two guests today. First, we've got Kate Jenner from the Hockey Roos, the national Australian women's hockey team, and also Dylan Martin from the Kookaburras Australian national men's hockey team. So thanks so much, Kate and Dylan, for your time and for joining us here today and hearing about your journey and some motivational tips and tricks. And for all our guests here today, we'll allow some questions in the chat box. I've got a few questions here which I'll start with, and then if you've got any questions throughout, please feel free to put them in the chat box, and we'll get to them throughout this afternoon's session. Excellent. So my first question to Kate and Dylan, to you both, and we'll start with Kate to answer first. How did you discover the sport of hockey, and what made you fall in love with the sport?
Yeah, well, I guess for me, as a young girl, I was quite active and really just wanted to, be outside and, have a go at whatever was happening. So, I first discovered hockey through school. So my friend's mum was actually coaching a hockey side, and they needed an extra player. So, asked me, and I went home and basically told mum, on Saturday morning, I'm going to be playing this game of hockey, and it goes for this long, and this is how much it costs, and can you drop me off, basically. It wasn't really I was asking if I could play. I was basically saying, this is what I want to do. So and I guess it's one of the many sports that I played, and it's the one that I guess I enjoyed the most, and maybe I stuck with it so long because I was semi good at it. So but in the end, I do just love, running around playing hockey. So didn't really matter in the end whether I was good at it or not. I probably would still be playing regardless.
Fantastic. Love hearing that you enjoyed it so much. That's it's really cool, and I guess for everyone to enjoy what you're doing. And yourself, Dylan, I guess the same question to you.
Yeah, I had some family members that played, so that sort of, I'd be down there on a Saturday watching them, and as a young boy, and I just I loved watching it, and obviously I went to the Minkies and the Hook and the Hockeys and stuff like that. So I started as a pretty young age. Through sort of a little bit the same with KJ, I played a lot of sport. I played a lot of cricket. I played a lot of Aussie rules, and a lot of hockey. I loved playing all those sports. I think when I got to about 15 was probably the time where I decided, I should select one a bit more. I think it was getting a bit hard on my parents, I'd have to take me to footy, and then I'd have to go back to hockey, and then maybe back to footy. So I think, I just, as I said, I just loved it more than anything. And it was just, I just got into it through my family.
Awesome. Great. I guess great pathways and journeys from each of you. And that's really cool hearing that family element and the multi-sport aspect from both of you. So that's cool. And for you, Kate, growing up in Tamworth, and for our audience, it's about 5 hours drive north of Sydney. How did you find it managing your hockey training, your school, and your personal life once you started to, I guess, take those next steps with your hockey? How did you find balancing all those different aspects of your life?
I guess for me, we had a fair few opportunities in Tamworth. So I did majority of my training in Tamworth, school, everything. Just your normal kind of life, I guess. The only time we really made the trip down to Sydney was for our state training weekends, which was probably about 3 a year maybe. It was normally, over a weekend. So Saturday morning, you'd get woken up at, I have no idea what time, you'd almost get dressed, be thrown in the car, and you'd wake up and you'd be like, oh, where are we? And we're in Sydney. So some long weekends for my parents, no doubt, driving me down to training. But I was actually quite fortunate that Tamworth has great hockey facilities, coaches, all of that. So for me, I could live a pretty normal life until I left home when I finished school. So for me it was probably the easiest part of my life, I guess.
Excellent, fantastic. And similar for you, Dylan, growing up in Wagga Wagga. So for our audience, that's about a 5-hour drive south of Sydney. How did you find, I guess, managing your hockey training, your school, your personal life when it started to take off?
Yeah, I've definitely had a few sleeps like KJ in the car and woken up in Sydney. There's been, can't thank the parents enough for that. Yeah, just for me, I think Wagga was very fortunate to have like turfs and stuff like that. We weren't able to actually have quite the coaching, I guess, when I got older into my, year 11 and 12 sort of year. So I had to do a bit more to Sydney. And as I said, I was just lucky that I had parents that support me enormously. And there was sometimes, some New South Wales coaches who would come down to Wagga and help me out. So in the hockey side, that sort of helped itself for my parents. And the study side as well, I just had to make sure I do everything as quick as possible, I guess. When I got assignments, when I had homework and stuff like that, I would just try and get that done as quick as possible, because then I was able to do my hockey and, don't have to worry about that sort of thing. And I think the one thing I learned during that was I couldn't go to a hockey tournament or anything with work to have to do. And I still do that right now. I can't go to a hockey tournament. I can't go to anything to have a uni assignment. So I just need to get things done as soon as possible. And then that lets me let me be free to play hockey.
Excellent. That's great to hear, I guess, both from Kate and Dylan, the support networks they have and the support of family to help you both, I guess, to where you are today. So that's wonderful to hear. So Kate, we'll talk about it a little bit later on in today's session. You went to the London 2012 Olympic Games, but we'll just move ahead a couple of years to where you had a break from hockey after the 2014 Commonwealth Games. What were your reasons behind stepping away from the game in 2014?
Yeah, well, pretty much in the Commonwealth Games, I think it was the last game before the semi-final. I actually got a pretty bad shoulder injury in training. So, yeah, I was probably out for maybe half of 2015. And when I came back, I just wasn't really performing. So I ended up actually getting dropped from the squad end of 2015. So decided to move back home. All my family and friends were still back on the East Coast. So I decided to, move back home. And I was a bit over hockey at that stage as well, having gotten into the Perth life at a young age. And was kind of just, missing being back around family and friends. So, I decided to move home instead of stay and, kind of just push away at something I really wasn't enjoying anymore. That's where I kind of got into the coaching side of stuff, just doing a few sessions a week, really, just coaching some young under 13s, under 15-year-old kids, doing one of our development programs. And it was probably more fulfilling, I guess, coaching younger kids and seeing their development than, playing was for me at that stage. I was kind of like, just, it's the same old thing. It's getting a bit, I just wasn't finding that enjoyment, especially with injuries. You do get a bit over doing a heap of rehab to get back and then to be injured again. And once I got into the coaching, I kind of just, I guess, couldn't stop. So it led to, a few casual sessions here or there into, a full-time job that I have now. So, I found that, I guess, really fulfilling at that time in my life.
Excellent. Fantastic. It's great to hear, I guess, going down that coaching path and finding those other avenues of the sport and potentially for post your career as well. So that's really fantastic. Dylan, we'll go back to you and talk a little bit about the New South Wales Pride in 2019 and the National Hockey One League going through undefeated. So what was it like playing in that tournament and what did you enjoy the most about that season?
Yeah, that's the first time I guess, in a domestic comp that we've done the home and away, for me especially. So I think the thing I really enjoyed was that I got to play in front of a home crowd in New South Wales, which I don't think I've ever done for New South Wales. And, to have my family and stuff come watch me. And, there was a Canberra game, which was even better, even closer for my family in Wagga to come up and watch me. So I think that's the most enjoyment I got out of it, is actually just be able to play in front of people that are, the ones I love. And really sort of get a bit more of an atmosphere around it. And obviously, going through undefeated and winning like we did, it's just a pretty proud achievement. And then, we sort of had a fair bit of New South Wales behind us. So, yeah, it's pretty good.
Excellent. And we're hoping to go back to back when the Hockey One League
Exactly.
continues after COVID. So we're all looking forward to that. And for our, I guess, attendees today, that's available on KO Sports, and it's a new competition, the Hockey One League, for both the men's and women's competitions. So keep an eye out for that and have a look on social media, and you can follow the New South Wales Pride for the men's and women's teams. So that's great, and hopefully another title to add. And back to you, Kate, and just to continue on, I guess, from the break you had there in 2018, you returned with the New South Wales Arrows. So that was the name of the team before the New South Wales Pride. And you were selected in the National Development Squad and the Hockeyroos since then. So what made you, I guess, then turn around from what you said before and come back and give international hockey another crack?
By then I'd had 2 years away from playing, and I seemed to somehow, without playing, still get added to the New South Wales squad, hoping that I'd pick up my stick again. But I kept having to call and say, no, I'm not ready. And then at the start of 2018, they obviously asked again, and I thought, this is the last time we're going to be playing as the Arrows in our blue uniform. And I guess that was kind of where I started my journey on the pathway, is in that blue uniform. So I was, I kind of thought, it'd be nice to just have one more crack and just play with, the old gang. And there were a lot of the girls that were my age coming back to play. And it ended up being a really fun tournament. We won, so it made it even more fun. And just had a really good time. And then a week or so later, got an email to say, that I'd been selected back in the squad. And I was thinking, you're crazy, I'm way too old for this. And I kind of really got into the coaching side of things. So Trini Powell, who ended up being our coach this year, taking over coaching this year for the Hockeyroos, kind of twisted my arm and said, come on, give it one more crack. You gave New South Wales one more crack, how about we give this one more crack, and we can find a way where you can coach and play and still live in Newcastle, but you will have to train sometimes in Sydney. So let's see how we can make that work. So it does take a while to twist my arm, but I'm pretty happy that I had people out there that were willing to do that and to help me make it work as well.
Excellent. And just to follow on for that, you had to go to the High Performance Centre in Perth. So how was that, I guess, leaving your family and friends and sort of going, as you said before, from Perth back home and then back home to Perth? How did you go managing that? That takes a bit more of an arm twist for me to get me to go, back to WA, which is so far away from home. But it was kind of like, 9 months. You've just got to, get in there, do it for 9 months, give it your all. And then when you come back, everything will still be the same back here. So in the end, that's what got me over the line. Just, one last crack, one last time, kind of living in fantasy land where you just, being an elite athlete, like, yes, it's hard, but you are quite fortunate in the opportunities that you get to experience and the life you get to live. I can't say, you can never just call into work and say, sorry, I slept in, a bit tired today. That doesn't quite roll in the real world, whereas sometimes as an athlete it does. It was kind of like, I'm getting a bit older, let's just give this one more crack while I can. And then I can, leave the sport happy, was more, what convinced me to make the move. Excellent. Fantastic. And for you, Dylan, obviously the team success is fantastic in the Hockey One League, but after that, in 2020, you were selected for the Kookaburras, the men's hockey team. Did you expect to get called up? And how did you go, I guess, with the move to Perth in your shoes?
Yeah, so the 2020, like after the Hockey One, I actually was selected in the development squad. And that period over when Tokyo was supposed to happen in 2020, I wasn't actually in the squad. I was in the development squad, and that COVID, delaying everything another year gave me another year to really work on my game and train and get better. And really, I guess I got a step back and focus on myself a bit. And with that was, I sat with coaches and we kind of thought there's going to be a camp at the end of the year where they're going to repick the squad. And around that was also, we always thought that during COVID times that someone mightn't be training as hard as I might be, So that sort of happened. And I guess for me, it's all been pretty quick. I rolled into the squad this year and I got the debut. It was kind of my goal. And then to end up going to Tokyo was, incredible. And I think, I wasn't in the squad last year to be able to be in the squad and actually go to Tokyo. It's been a pretty good 6 months for me.
Yeah, amazing. That hard work is fantastic. What you say there, to work as hard as you possibly can and work harder than others. That's really cool. And I guess we move into Tokyo now for both Kate and Dylan. What an experience to play in an Olympic Games. And for you, Kate, as I mentioned before to our audience, you went to London in 2012 for the Olympics, and then obviously Tokyo in 2021 for the Olympics. How did you find the difference between London and Tokyo with the COVID restrictions?
Yeah, well, I guess, in the end for both, it was the same result, but I'd say the experiences were completely different. I guess I was very much different age as well, being 10 years apart or so. But yeah, I just found with the COVID restrictions and no crowds, that it was disappointing that we couldn't have crowds to play in front of. But as a player, I think it just made everything so much simpler. I've got to say, in London, having family and friends around, it was a bit more of a distraction. You have rest days and, they want to catch up for a coffee or this or that, or find out when you have a spare 5-10 minutes and this and that. Whereas this time it was like, well, we're in a village or we're at the pitch, that's it. So it just simplified everything for me, and I found that really refreshing. And I guess having lived in Australia and a few lockdowns, the COVID restrictions weren't really a bother, to be honest. But yeah, I just found it simplified everything. It was still a great experience, even without the crowds. But yeah, it would have been good with crowds still. But yeah, I found the experience, really rewarding actually.
Fantastic, great to hear. And 2 Olympics is a wonderful achievement. So well done. And yourself, Dylan, how did you find your first Olympic experience? And obviously being there with the silver medal, must be proud of that achievement.
Yeah, I think for me it's kind of everything I imagined, the hockey side of things. I kind of understand what KJ's saying about the village. You're either at the village relaxing or preparing, and then you're either at the game, which kind of worked well, I guess. You're not so much focused on the noise that's going on. And I think the side that I missed would have been nice to sometimes, finish a game and just have that little 5 minutes after, just to see some family, especially because I don't get to see them too much. So that also would have been, really nice to do that. But the overall experience for me was just, incredible. And to win a silver medal and come so close, I think, yeah, it's just, something I always wanted to do, and to achieve it's just nice as well.
Excellent. Fantastic. And for you, Kate, being an experienced player who's played at the top level for so many years, what are some things that it takes to be successful at such a level, both, I guess, mentally and physically?
Yeah, I think it's just, really persistence, consistency, and just making everything of every single moment. When you turn up for a training session, if you're feeling off, just that's no excuse for not gaining something from the session. It might just be something small. It could even be a mental barrier where, you're not feeling well and you push through and you end up having a great session. And then when you're in that situation again, you can kind of, go back to that. So it's about always learning. It's not breaking world records at every session. It's just about, that hard work of, turning up every day, getting the job done, getting something out of it, and learning from your experience. That's probably, the one thing I've learned over my career is, and bouncing off people. Like, you're in a team. Like, when I first came in, I was probably, hanging off the shoulders of some of the older girls, like the older defenders, just picking their brain about everything, and they just talk to you about how to play the game, how to adjust to this, and on tour. So it's just about, really being a sponge, getting in there, having a go, and making the most of the experience, really.
That's awesome. That learning is such an important thing, I guess, in so many aspects of life as well. And Dylan, anything to add there? Anything that you think?
I just think I totally agree that the learning ones are massive. You know, I've only had 6 months into it, and I don't think I could have been as successful as I have been if I wasn't, you know, talking to the most capped kookaburra in the world all the time. You know, he probably gets a bit annoyed at all the questions I asked, or, you know, just really. And it's okay to do it. I think in any environment, it's okay to ask questions. You know, there's never ever really right or wrong, and that's helped me develop as much as I can. And I also think the balance thing was really good for me. You know, when I got to hockey, I was on. You know, I'm training as hard as I can. Outside of that, I need to find the things I enjoy, and, you know, that was good for me. I could do the study. I could study and have that sort of balance as well. So I think it's definitely the learning, and it's definitely that balance point.
Excellent. Great takeaways for our participants here today. And I guess for you, Kate, what does the future hold in the short to mid-terms in the next 2 to 3 years? Are you looking to just continue to play and look towards that next Olympic cycle, or focus more on your coaching?
I think the next Olympic cycle is probably a bit far out for me. We did actually start pre-season on Monday with some running and some gym. So yeah, running is hurting quite a lot at the moment with a big break after the Olympics. So yeah, at the moment we're just back in pre-season. I think we're planning on having maybe a camp towards the end of the year, but with the borders being close to WA, I don't know really where that leaves me. To be honest, I'm a bit over the whole quarantine situation when going into another state or another country. So I'll see probably later on in the year what that looks like for me. But yeah, I was still enjoying hockey. So yeah, I mean, playing isn't out of the picture, but, you know, maybe moving back to WA is a bit far out. So we'll see what happens, but definitely keen to keep coaching and giving back to the sport in New South Wales.
Fantastic. We'll stay tuned, and I'm sure our guests will follow your journey, wherever that may go. And Dylan, for you, I guess your first Olympic Games. What about you for the short term to mid term, 2 to 3 years? What's your focus? What's your goals?
Yeah, I think for the rest of the year, it's you know, there's a lot of planning that's going to happen. So a little bit unsure around that. Hopefully, Hockey 1 gets to happen next year. So that would probably be the next really thing for me. So obviously, I've got to do a lot of preparation and stuff for that. But then, you know, next year I'm hoping to, you know, go to Com Games, and it's just sort of that cycle to Paris. And that's my major plan. And, you know, what comes out of that will come out of it. And that's where I'm at the moment.
Excellent. And again, we'll be following closely on your journey, and hoping you can make Paris in 2024. And the last question from me before I open it up to the chat box, and we'll start with you again, Kate. What advice would you give our audience, I guess, on never giving up on their dreams in life, whether that be education, sport, art, music, business, or any other dream an individual has in mind?
I think for me, it's just all about having a go. Like, if you think you might want to do something, you know, I kind of thought, I could have a go at hockey when I was back in year 2, and you know, look where it's the opportunity it's given me, not just in playing but coaching, and you know, so many opportunities I've had in life have come through hockey. You know, I did play music as well as a young kid, so it was kind of my parents played the piano, so it was kind of like I had to do that. And then, you know, it was a fight because I wanted to play the flute, and I, you know, so played that and all these other sporting things. So, you know, it was kind of like anything as a kid that I wanted to have a go at, I was kind of like pretty stubborn about it. And I'm probably still like that now. If there's something, like I went through a stage where I was teaching myself Spanish for about 2 years. I was terrible at it. So in the end, I did have to give up because it was just, you know, a bridge too far. But it was kind of just having a go at anything, you know, and I kind of try and push it as far as I can until it's, like Spanish, and it's been 2 years and you still can't string a sentence together. So, it's just about having a go, and giving it everything you have.
Wonderful, great advice. And yourself, Dylan, any advice for our audience today? Never giving up on the dreams.
Yeah, pretty similar to that. I really like the learning one. You know, as I said, I don't. Doesn't matter where you are in life, everyone can learn and everyone can upskill themselves. And I think another thing that I've taken, I reckon I've learnt more in the last few years is that when I've enjoyed stuff, that's when, you know, I've really seen some progression in my hockey and even my uni. You know, I've found ways to enjoy different things, and I think that's helped me so much to just actually enjoy what I'm doing, enjoy actually living in the moment as well. You know, and I think that's helped me so much in my life in the last few years.
Excellent. Wonderful. So that's all the questions from myself. I'd like to again extend my thanks to Kate and Dylan for both your time and insight today. It's been really wonderful to hear about your journey and your Olympic experience and where to next, and also some of those learnings and never giving up and trying as many things and giving it your all is really good advice for us all to take, I guess, in everyday life. So thanks so much for your time on behalf of Study New South Wales, AUSISO and Hockey New South Wales. We really appreciate it.
No worries.
Thanks for having us.
No problems. I'll open it up just for another couple of minutes. If there's any questions that our audience has, feel free to type them in the chat box and we can relay them to Dylan and Kate before they jump off. And then Herman will share his screen with a couple of slides for all our attendees about sport opportunities and some volunteer opportunities with Hockey New South Wales as well. So we'll see what comes through in the chat box from anyone. Yep, so we have one here, which I'll ask both Kate and Dylan. So what mental tool or what mental, I guess, technique do you use when you're under pressure? We'll start with Kate.
I think for me, something we've learnt over the years is how to breathe. So sometimes when you're under the most pressure and, you know, your heart rate is through the roof, the best thing you can actually do is to just take some deep breaths and just get back to what's important now. Yeah, that's probably the biggest thing that's helped me in high pressure situations. And it just really brings you back to the now, not, you know, what's just happened or what is about to just happen or could happen. Just really about, what is happening now.
Excellent. And Dylan, any mental techniques when you're under
Yeah, I think that's a big one that goes around any sport and any I guess work side as well, is that, you know, the breathing one is definitely, you know, it's moments where you're in a high pressure situation, it is time to breathe and get yourself nice and controlled. And when I'm in that situation, I guess when I'm playing well in high pressure situations, it's always, you know, I'm not focusing on myself per se. I'm focusing on, you know, what the team needs, and, you know, be any other situation, I need to focus on what we need to do and what I need to do to, you know, get the outcome I get.
Excellent. Thank you. And thanks to Saad for the question. That was fantastic. Any other questions from our audience? Feel free to type them in the chat box and we can relay them to Kate and Dylan.
I have one question, if you don't mind, to Kate and Dylan. I guess, are there any sort of tips and advice? New South Wales, we're in lockdown at the moment. Anything that you're both doing on a daily basis to help you get through things like quarantine or lockdown, and just any small tips? I guess that would be useful for some of the students that are listening here.
I guess lockdown and quarantine are a little bit different. For quarantine, I was definitely, you know, it's about having a routine, you know, about getting up and kind of having a purpose each day, I guess. You know, lockdown is a little bit, you've probably got a few more freedoms, so, or depending where you are actually. But, you know, you can go outside and, you know, get some fresh air and some exercise. But yeah, I think for me, it's all about having a bit of a routine, but then also being okay with having an off day. So if there's an off day and you just want to sleep in bed all day and that's what's going to get you through the day, that's what you do. And not having that pressure on, you know, that you've got to achieve, you know, everything you can in one day, just having little things to tick off, little routines, and just being kind to yourself as well.
Yeah, I think when I've done both, I've done the isolation, I did a fair bit of lockdown when it sort of first started, and I did a lot of training during that period. And I think for me, it was always about waking up and doing something straight away. So whether I'd wake up, I'd go for a run, or I'd wake up and it could even just, make a really nice breakfast for myself. I know that might sound a little bit silly, but it was always about doing something that I want to do straight away. And that kind of helped me set a good tone for the rest of the day. And I think that was really important for me, especially with training. Like, I could get up and train, I could get up and do whatever. I could get up and study for 40 minutes or an hour. And it was just about really getting that first hour, I guess, of when I wake up. And that would really set the tone for the rest of my day. And then that would, I guess it would put me in a better headspace as well. And I could achieve a few more things. And I like variety in my day. So, I would sort of get that done. And then there'll be a lot of things that would come out of that as well.
Excellent. Fantastic. Just read out, we have one question pop in. I guess in terms of, and this one's to Dylan, how does, I guess, athletics and I guess physical fitness make you a better student? Again, from Sam, thank you.
Yeah, I think it's really healthy to exercise and be active, and the study and having a break where you go for a run is. I've had so many exams where I just do that, and it's really good for your mental health to sort of have a reset and really, get out and do something and enjoy yourself. And I think around like my hockey, to make me a better student is I've got so much, communication skills and connections and friendships that have helped me study. I've got one of my good mates who I played in my hockey club, and he's an engineer, and I message him all the time about stuff. And that's just a good example of that. I've met someone through the network, and I've just made a really good friend through hockey. And he's really helped me. He's still helping me in uni right now. And so there's a lot of things you can do.
Excellent. Fantastic. I think that's a good place to leave it there for today's session from Kate and Dylan. Again, I'd like to extend our thanks for your time and your insights. It's been really fantastic, and we really appreciate it. So thanks so much, and all the best for your future hockey journeys and coaching journeys, and what's ahead into 2022 and beyond. So thanks, Kate. Thanks, Dylan.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Cheers. So now I'll hand over to Herman Loti from AUSISO, and he'll share a few slides for our students about the benefits of sport and some volunteer opportunities. Thanks, Herman.
Thank you. I'll just share screen. Excellent. So I'm hoping everyone can see that.
Yep, all good. Thanks.
Excellent. Thank you. So one of the potential opportunities for students in New South Wales is, if you're interested, you can become a Hockey New South Wales Community Ambassador as part of the Community Ambassador program. You don't really need to know much about hockey. That's totally fine. We're just looking for enthusiastic members who are passionate about sport and helping to grow the game of hockey. It's a voluntary role, but there are many incentives such as match tickets, shirts, caps, and obviously the opportunity to meet new people and network. And it looks great on your resume as well. So if you're interested in becoming a Hockey New South Wales Community Ambassador, it is available on the website there, and we're happy to share this information as well post this session as well. You can reach out to myself and Nicholas, and we're more than happy to answer any of your questions. So in terms of sport and where you can play once COVID restrictions ease, there are a variety of options available for you, and here are the websites that you can go to. Each website that you go to, you pretty much put in your suburb, and it'll give you a short list of your local club or association and the local playing opportunities for you. And again, myself and Nicholas, we're here to help you. If you're struggling to find a local club, or if you want to play socially or any particular sport that you're looking to join, myself and Nicholas, we're here to help you and help you on your journey. And sort of as Dylan mentioned, it was a great opportunity for him to meet friends. A lot of my friend circles are from my playing experience at a local club level, and that resonates a lot with everyone. So we highly recommend to get out there, get active, play for a local club. It's a fantastic opportunity to meet new friends and also get to know your local community as well and represent your local community. There are a variety of social options as well, where you can play midweek or on the weekend, depending on your schedule and availability. Myself and Nicholas, we're here to help you on that journey as well. If there's any sport here that we may have missed, these are the sort of the top sports that we've listed in New South Wales. Again, we're happy to assist you with that. In terms of work experience opportunities and questions, if you're looking for particular work experience in the sport industry, please send us an email. Please reach out via our website. We're here to help. We would love to connect you with organisations such as Hockey New South Wales or Football New South Wales or many of our other sporting partners. If you're looking to get into the sporting industry, we're looking to connect you with those sporting bodies as well as our organisation as well. Our office is based in Strathfield, ACU in Strathfield, so we're quite central and we're easily accessible to public transport as well. Post, obviously, once COVID restrictions ease. If anyone has any particular questions, we're happy to take them now through the chat box. So if you want any type of question in the sport industry, we're here to answer any type of question that may help you. No questions? All right, Nicholas, did we want to add anything else?
No, all good. Thanks, Evan, for that. I'd just like to thank everyone for their participation and attending today's wellbeing webinar. We really appreciate it, and thanks to Lorraine and Study New South Wales once again for their support and for running such fantastic events like this for students. So we really appreciate it, Ryan, and it's been great working with you on this project, and look forward to working on more opportunities for everyone.
All right. No worries at all. Thanks everyone for coming.
Thanks everyone. Have a good day.
Thanks, everyone.